leaders help a group get done what that group wants done. The leader often is that voice reminding the group that the mission matters, that the person suffering outside matters, and that's why we're doing what we're doing. But that can get a little wearying. That can make you a little bit tired. And so there's a natural question that leaders ask is how to rest, how to recoup. And I've thought a little bit about the history of that with monasteries, with Saint Benedict and Teresa of Avila, trying to structure a life, a day, in such a way that there was a proper mix of working together, doing chores, getting what's needed done for the household, plus prayer and contemplation, plus meals together, those sort of things. But once you read those accounts, that rule, you begin to realize that it would feel kind of oppressive. Probably it would feel like it was cramping your style to be under a regime like that. And I'm reminded there of Dietrich Bonhoeffer's good warning in the beginning of his book Life Together, where he's himself reflecting on what an idyllic and ideal community would look like, an ideal day, that he reminds himself and he reminds others that those who dream of community often become the destroyers of that community because they end up hating the people, because the people don't measure up to the ideal they'd envisioned. And I do think there's a warning there for us leaders that perhaps we are careful, at least, about going to the place where we recoup and find food and sleep and relationships, that we begin to organize and coordinate our eating and our sleeping and our relationships. And whether that doesn't backfire sometimes, I think there's something to that. We can't turn it off, and there's something to be said for organizing well your household and being a good steward of that. And that's really important to think about your personal life and your family life and to organize it. But I also worry about that need to make it the way you want it. That's what Bonhoeffer's really worried about, that you've ruined the relationship by trying to organize the relationships. And I'm reminded of, just finally, the idea of Sabbath, which means that one day a week you're taking off. And the word Sabbath means to stop. And so there's just some word to leaders that there's a time to stop, to rest, and to turn it off. And that may be really good for us. I'm struck by just watching leaders that, as much as they think they can make a regimen, they make a plan, a New Year's resolution for how they're going to spend their free time, or they document it, they have their diet and their sleep schedule and their exercise schedule and their reading schedule and their coffee dates, and their they're going to go on this many dates with their spouse, and they've got these vacation planned, and all of that is okay, but I often see those breaking down, and that's okay. And I just think we may not realize that the variety, the organic kind of nature of how things turn out may actually be better for us. So that's just something to think about, that leaders, you don't have to always be leading. And it may not be good for you to stop and to let the food, the sleep, and the relationships be something that you rest in rather than control.